Because on Spill the ImmuniTEA, the stakes are high, the alliances are forming, and the tea is brewing. Brace yourselves for blindsides, epic challenges, and the ultimate Survivor showdown.
Hey everybody, welcome to Spill the ImmuniTEA. We are back. I love being back. We had a draft a few weeks ago. If you missed it, we're going to go over it again and look at our great picks because somebody got booted on my team. And welcome Brandon and Alex. It's good to have you guys back in the studio. Oh my gosh. Here we are. Season 47.
Here we are, and one tribe already has to gotta get it together. They are going to be losing some people very, very fast.
Yeah.
That entire tribe is not in a good space. Yeah. I don't like anybody on that tribe, to be honest. I don't know if anybody is good.
I love, and we have a brand new breakdown of this wonderful podcast y'all listen to, and Bree will get you excited about that. But one thing first, the only person I do like, and it happens to be my winner pick, is Sierra. Just seems to be taking it all in. She's the person wowing at the island and taking a step back and looking at tribal council. And I think that's a great place to be in. She doesn't seem too worried, unlike half the cast. Especially her tribe, and I'm really excited about my picks, Bree.
Oh yeah,
I am.
You sure?
There's still one that I've already had a lot of nerves with ever since I drafted him. But shall we get to our new chronological order of show, Bree?
Yeah, we should. Well, we definitely want to dive into the first episode. It is, I think I've noticed lately, every time the new season starts, that I'm like, who are these people? And have they ever seen Survivor before? Has anyone ever watched this show? Because there are some people that are just making such rookie mistakes. And I just feel like maybe when they get there, it just goes all out the window. I don't know, Alex, what do you think?
I think it's a very young season again, and kind of my vibe from it so far is that you saw older seasons where people maybe be a little bit older and they had a little more life experience, and now Survivor is like trying to have these like underdog stories, these like coming to age stories, these millennial coming to age stories, but these people are like they haven't like processed their trauma or something. I mean, we're talking about Andy here. But it just kind of seems like a very young tribe, and there's a lot of like kind of naivete, right? There's a lot of naiveness kind of going on. So that was kind of my just with how Andy and that whole tribe kind of panned out, and then wanting to get John. I mean, we're kind of jumping ahead here, getting John out. He's like, oh, I'm the old guy. He's 40. Like, he's not that old.
I was so sad that he felt old at 40. Golly. What are we doing, Survivor? I have a our Jeff system that we used to do, giving Jeff 5 torches or whatever. I do have a minus torch on this whole age thing. I think we need to add to this the fact that a 40-year-old is feeling like he's vibing with a whole bunch of young peoples should not be a thing. They kind of each tribe has their token like old person, right? 40 plus. I just don't think that's where we should be right now in that. So, but Bree, I want to talk more about what you're saying, and kind of Alex, what you're agreeing to is, whenever they get these underdog stories, whenever they try to figure out, okay, this person's really going to grow on this island. Well, it takes more than 3 days to grow. So there's going to be somebody that doesn't even come close to the underdog story. They don't give enough time. I would have loved to see how John would have matured and would have transformed through his time on the island. And I can't wait to see. Honestly, they're going to give Andy a couple more days to kind of grow and mature, because he can't win this game. Andy can't win this game already. And you know what? What do you guys think? Do you guys think that is a great? Do we start with this first? I don't know. Do you give the person who has zero chance of winnings time to vote other people out? Do you keep him already as a GOAT? Was that good strategy that they kept him?
I don't think it was, because he doesn't seem like he's with the challenges. Okay. He's a loose cannon. So he spilled the beans to the entire, all the other tribes. He's completely unpredictable. So you can't even rely on him for a vote, potentially. And then like the girl, you know, the preview for the next season was he's giving stalker ex-boyfriend vibes or stalker, you know, like crazy boyfriend vibes, right? And he's just got this wild, he's just unprepared, almost unfair. It's kind of like a Banu situation, right? But Banu was maybe a little bit more likable because he was just all love and super exuberant. Andy's got this like frantic, like scared,
Neurotic,
like, super, neurotic, super like insecure. And like, you know, on an island, you're just like, dude, like you got to get together, man. Like we're, you know, so I feel bad for him, honestly, you know, to have that kind of breakdown on the show.
Well,
yeah, I think it's like on Survivor. It's like, you got to do some psychological screening here to like make sure that this, you know, poor kid, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and I think it goes back into and why I didn't select him to be on my team is that he kept on comparing himself to Austin. He wanted to be Austin. He wanted to be Austin. And even said in this episode that he wasn't being the person he wanted to be. He is himself now, but he's taking steps back, which is wow to follow that, right? So I really do think that he had this certain expectation and was really thinking final three before the game even started, and it just led him down this path of I don't know who I am right now, and my goodness. And but I do think that, to be fair, I think there would have been an Andy type, not as hyper on each team. I think Gabe could have easily been the Andy if his tribe would have lost, because he kind of, not as much as Andy, but I think just feeling as if he's already lost. But I don't know. He's a little more confident, I guess, than Andy was. Did you guys see confidence in Andy at all through all 3 days?
I mean, he had it right when he hit the beach, you know. Yeah, but they were saying he was too eager, right? He's just too eager. He's too quick to try to make the friends, and just doesn't understand. Yeah, and the comparison to Austin, like, dude's coming out here, he don't look like Austin. You know, that's why I don't like to pick the things, because you look at the physicality, he ain't Austin. Austin he went out there, he was fit, he was a strong guy. This guy, he's not even, I mean, a lot of these people, it's like, did you guys know you were coming on Survivor? I know you're packing on a little pounds and stuff to, you know, go through the starvation, but it's like, I don't know if a lot of people were super prepared for this. So I was thinking, oh, it's going to be a really great season. These people are really smart. Now I'm kind of looking at them thinking, I don't know. I'm looking at the yellow team. I'm like, these people, I don't know if they're, you know, geniuses, right?
Yeah. Well, yellow team for me, I knew like right from the beginning, I only picked one from the yellow team. I didn't want, I kind of already felt like they were going to be that tribe that loses a lot. And so when they won that first challenge, I was really surprised by that. I really was, but good on them for doing that. But I think, you know, John, short-lived John, I love John, podcaster. Come on, we got to root for these podcasters. I think John left us with so much. And the first thing that he talked about when they were on the beach was, we all have these expectations of what we want to be when we get there, right? When we get to the island, when we're on Survivor, we have these expectations of what we want to be. And then the reality of who we actually are when we're here can be something totally different than what we were expecting. That is totally played out with Andy already right off the get-go. I think he came in there thinking, I've changed, I've gotten through so much. But like you said, Brandon, he hasn't really, you know, worked through all of that baggage yet. So it's still there and still haunting him, and being able to, you know, deal with that in this setting is not going to be good for him. He's going to struggle with that. I totally see that happening. I don't think he's going to get very far in the game, to be honest with you. I think maybe next week he'll make it through, but I think yellow will get demolished. But here's the other thing about Andy, and you know, I'm a reality show fanatic. I love all kinds of reality shows. I watched Love Island season 6 USA. It had the biggest audience it's ever had, but there was a lot of stuff after they got off the island, right? After they get out of Mallorca or wherever they were, and they went home, the social media backlash was very brutal. I know that people from the last season of Survivor also had a lot of backlash, but specifically Love Island this year had huge amounts of backlash. And it it's very damaging, and it can be very difficult to handle. So
Yeah.
I worry about players like Andy because he is being vulnerable. He's going through a rough time. I feel bad for the guy because he obviously didn't deal with all his stuff before he got there, and it's all coming up and smacking him in the face on the very first week, the first days or a couple days. So I worry about him. I worry about the backlash he might feel. John won't care that he got booted first. John is like, I'm gonna make the most of this because we're podcasters. We'd make the most of it. So I worry about Andy and the backlash he might face just because of how he's performing so far. But I don't understand why that kept him. For me, wouldn't have kept him. And that is because I know that he pushed himself, but that panic attack, it was not exhaustion. It was a panic attack, I believe. In my opinion, I am not a doctor. I cannot diagnose anything, but it looked to me more like it because he was asking all these questions. He was very verbal during this whole thing, which means I don't see heat exhaustion as much as how much he was talking to Jeff. He was really talking to Jeff.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to vote me out. They're going to vote me out. It was panic attack. So that's something that I don't know if he can get overcome as fast as he needs to be able to support the team. And it could be to the detriment of the team. That's just how I see it.
Well, and I can say this, having ADHD too, is one thing you do with ADHD is that when you get to a point of anxiety, you over-explain everything and you say way too much. And that's exactly what he did in his answer. And for the thoughts on what's his name? The guy kicked off. Help me out.
John?
Yeah, John, thank you. With him, I almost wonder if it's Andy was the one who told, or not Andy, Sam was the one who maybe told on him and said, hey, he's going to vote Annika. And maybe because they found out about, okay, now you're playing against us, you're bye-bye. They did mention the strength thing, but then they played that down too, saying that Andy doesn't really have that much strength when you look at it. He might be the biggest on the team besides Sam, but I think it was more or less that John was playing way too hard and should have just left Andy be Andy.
Well, and Andy, I just saw it, is 31. He's not young, but he's not a kid. So that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, we kind of compared John, right? They were kind of foreshadowing like almost like a King George because he's in politics and he's this narrator and he has this narrative. But he ain't nothing like King George. And we said this in our preview episode of he's not a politician. He's a speechwriter. And so he actually doesn't have to do the politicking. He gets to sit in there on an intellectual level and and then he's like a speechwriter for Obama. So Obama is the guy who actually says it, but John maybe has that, I don't want to say false confidence, but he thought maybe he would perform better because he feels like he's in politics, but he's actually not a politician. And if it was King George, he would have had all those girls, it's just such a huge fumble. Andy has this huge blow up, this huge, disaster, and John can't capitalize on that and get him out. Like, that's pretty bad survival play.
Yeah. And do you think it was to his detriment that he said, I am a speechwriter? And that doesn't trigger people thinking, well,
100%.
I mean, the final tribal, and you have to give a speech, and you're a speechwriter. I'm guessing you have an upper hand. You know what I mean?
100%.
Go ahead, Brandon. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I wish they would have mentioned that. That's one thing I wish Survivor would have done is be like, oh, if they did have that thought of, oh, he's a speechwriter, let's watch out for that. So I'm wondering if that edit is in there. And I know Brennan gave his 2 cents, and I kind of align with that a little bit too. It is probably the best time that if you have a smarter player that is probably smarter than you, because I think that's how John was talking. He was definitely the best. He's more articulate than everybody else of that group. So I think that can be detrimental to your game, more so than finding out if you're a speechwriter in the game. The fact that you can eloquently say what's going on pretty well, and you're one of the weaker guys, probably a good reason as to why he went home.
Well, what is his thinking? Andy has this blow up, throws him under the bus, tells him he does, and then he goes back and he tries to make this alliance with Andy. It's like, what? I mean, I would like to hear his opinion on like why he did that, but it just didn't seem to make any sense because he really didn't feel good with those girls. Well, Andy's not good with anybody. The math wasn't mathing, right? It just didn't make any sense. I didn't understand his plan. And then to bring in Sam, it just total disaster on John's part. And it seemed like John gave up even. At Tribal, he seemed to kind of shut down. His face was really down. He seemed to have kind of given up just as much as Andy almost gave up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing with John is I don't believe he's a big enough Survivor fan to understand all the intricacies. I really don't. I don't think he hasn't. I think he kind of came in thinking he knew everything, but he doesn't really know everything because he would have seen that. That would have been something to capitalize on. For me, in hindsight's always 2020. So I've never been there. So I don't know if this is what I would do. But as soon as Andy throws Annika's name out, I'd be going to Annika and telling her. Right. If you're worried about your position, you want to throw every heat on everybody else. I would have been playing that up more and at least been able to see, because I don't know if I don't think I saw the writing on the wall for John until they got in there, but it was definitely a high probability that he would be going.
And this isn't the nice thing to do, but wouldn't you poke Andy? Wouldn't you provoke him? Wouldn't you make him have another blow up? Wouldn't you undermine him? And like you said, Bree, say, oh, he's trying to throw you under the bus. Where's the killer instinct, John? You're in politics. Like, you got to attack the opponent. And he voted for, he just did everything wrong. So totally deserved to go home.
And he didn't even need to poke the bear. I mean, the bear was awake and screaming at everybody. So I think he should have just laid low. I think he wanted to play the game too much. He even said it that if he's only going to be in there one episode, that he wants to make it this perfect and brilliant and lively episode. And he did that. He also said during his intro, he's best in small doses. And, that became fruitful.
Yeah, it sure did. But he left us with a lot of great lines. I want to get to this one before we shift into another thing. I loved what he said. I've done all these things. I've worked, for Obama as speechwriter. I had, all these great things that I've done. And now when people ask me what I do, I say I'm a blankety blank podcaster.
Yeah, that's podcast shaming right there. I don't know if we should have cheered for him.
I love that, we got to root for our podcasters. The surprise to me this season that I don't know listen, I don't watch that many podcasts. I'm in podcasting, but I'm so busy doing podcasting that I don't watch all these other podcasts, and I don't watch rap. Okay. I know, Rob, sorry, Rob, you've got a great podcast. You're a player. You do amazing things. I should be watching and learning from your leadership. And no, don't do that. Sorry, Rob. So I don't know the people that work for you, but Aisha is on Rob Has a Podcast. She's on Rap.
That's pretty cool.
How did I
good
not
news for all of us. I guess
that?
we might get on Survivor. We still have hope.
Exactly. And everyone will be recognizing us. No, I'm kidding. Dale will be in there going, Bree. He'll be the only one.
She was like, oh, I know you. Teeny said, oh, I know you from this niche podcast. It's like, that's the biggest Survivor podcast next to Jeff's. It's not no niche one. Yeah, this is a niche.
Wait a minute. You guys are all on Survivor. So you're Survivor fans. How do you not know this?
Right. You didn't do any research or on YouTube and look up.
He's got the biggest Survivor podcast. Right. Well, sorry, Jeff Probst. So maybe yours is up there too, but Rob really has the biggest podcast, right? And they're all on Survivor. So you think they would know Rob has a podcast and they would all know who she is.
To be fair, Bree.
I didn't know.
To be fair. I'm just saying.
The niche comment was down.
When you're in the niche, it's like, you know what I mean? When you're actually part of what that whole niche is based on. Anyway,
well, and I think, but again, I think that's Teeny at her game. Like, I think that she reminds me so much of Kirby. She really does, as far as she can kind of be sarcastic with people and kind of have this relationship with almost anybody. I think Teeny's going to be one to watch out for later on this season for sure.
You saying that because she's on your team?
I am. She's on a niche team of mine. And let's go Teeny. I can't trust Gabe. I can't trust Gabe.
Well, we could maybe go back here to the beginning of the episode. It started and then they go to the island, right? And it was Aisha and it was the other guy who TK. Yeah. Yeah, interesting guy, you know. So that was kind of interesting. And you know, they go and they get the challenge, they come back, and you know, she doesn't have it, and she's like, "Oh, they're gonna be so mad at me." It's like, no one's really gonna care. I think they'll understand that TK beat you in a physical challenge.
Yeah, no kidding, right? She actually gave it to him though a little bit when they were in the water. She was like, I actually fought a little bit for it. I was like, go girl, like let's do this.
I was hoping so. That would have been like so like late teens Survivor of like, you know, I remember Colby and just sitting in that bed watching Treasure Island, and those two other girls were fighting over the clue. Oh, that would have been great. That would have been great.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you guys think of that at the beginning where they send them off? They're not there for the beginning of the tribe. I mean, it is kind of a punishment because they lost the challenge.
I liked it.
So they got to kind of punish one, but
I liked it better than Sweat versus Savvy. I really did.
Yeah, I'm like so glad that's gone.
I think Sweat Savvy kind of met its match. I think it was cool the first 2 seasons. Glad it's gone. This one was less of an opportunity. There's really not too much lying that you need to do or whatever. So I think that really hurt the game that they put him in, like Jelensky, they put him in that lose-lose situation in the first episode. He would have figured out a way to lose a win-win situation. But I think that now with this kind of game, it's a little bit easier for the person not only to get out of the social circle for a little bit, but to come back and not have to really lie too much, which is great.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think about, I mean, the other big thing that was this season that was pretty funny was the beware advantage. Right, it's a beware advantage and a beware advantage and a beware advantage and it's a Russian A or what is it?
Yeah. I like. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, so it's Gabe, who is Brandon's original pick, and we may rearrange the picks, but Brandon's original pick.
Original pick. Gabe was my 4th pick.
Okay, who was your original pick?
My original pick was Sierra.
Sierra,
that's right.
I'm so excited for her. Yeah.
So, what do you guys think of the whole Gabe fiasco, or was it a success? I don't know.
Wow. I mean,
go ahead.
First, there's so many things that Gabe did wrong. So many things that Gabe did wrong. First, who was it that came up to him that TK? Yeah. So TK catches him in the act of finding this key. Gabe doesn't play it off very well. He's running around like a crazy person trying to get all this stuff done. And he doesn't play it off well. He's like, I think I fooled him, but you didn't. Obviously, you did not. Okay, Gabe. So one person knows. They know that you're going to get an idol. It is what it is. But what do you do, Gabe? After you get it, what do you do? Who do you tell? Who did he tell?
Who?
So.
You don't like the Gabe Sue alliance?
I like the Gabe Sue alliance, but just stop telling people about the idols.
That was a good point.
Holy crap. Do we say this every season? Don't tell people you have an idol. Like,
I was a little preemptive with Sue. He's like, "Hey, Mom, I'm your best friend." It's like, bro, you haven't even.
And by the way, I have an idol.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
do you think that Gabe? So Gabe, he finds it, and then he's pulling down the branch. And then TK comes, and then he has to go up, and he puts the box on a ledge, and it falls all the way down the hill. I was wanting him to go. I wanted to see when he went back to camp. They're like, "Hey, Gabe, what's going on?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?" But they didn't show that. Do you think that Gabe made the right decision to not go for the additional immunity? He stopped at the 2nd box, which was an immunity good for 3 tribals. I was like, you already went halfway there. Might as well go all the way, right? But it probably would have been like in the bottom of the well. That was actually kind of funny. So the other one who got the idol,
of the well was awesome.
Right,
Yeah.
Bottom of the well. I was like, that's really unsanitary.
Yeah.
I hope
The box in a box in a box, man. I love it. Make them really work for it. I thought that was brilliant. It was a box in a box. It was a tchotchke, right? It was the little Russian dolls, right? What are those little things you open it and there's another one and then there's another one?
Yes.
That's like what this was. If you wanted to go, hey, maybe there's like a winner's token in there. You just automatically are at final.
Or the Yule Super Idol is the next one. We loved that one. That didn't hurt a season.
So I love that it was like, okay, if you're happy with this, here you go. But if you want more, do this. To me, that was really great. It's the never ending idol, apparently. But I think, when do you say when? Like, how far? I'd ask you guys, how far would each of you, would you have kept going? How much would you do?
It depends how much trouble I think I was in. And my question is, how long of a time do you have to keep on finding idols? Like, do you get to keep on holding that in your pocket and deciding a little bit later, hey, I'm not ready to go yet, but maybe tomorrow when I'm a little more trouble? I think I would have kept it. I think I would have done one day and then kind of went back to the social situation. Especially now with TK knowing, I would have just stopped at one because you're already in trouble. The REC is liar. Brennan was talking about shoot, where's my memory at today? Was talking about, should he have lied to TK about it? I think you're already finding an idol and not telling anybody. It's now you've been found. So I don't think it matters what you do anymore to anybody because no one's going to believe you anyway. So I'm okay with him like lying about it. That's cool with me. But him telling Sue was my big problem. Alex, what you said, like, don't tell anybody. That is so currency. And that is something that you give away when there's like 8 people in the game. Hey, by the way, I have this idol. I've had that for a long time. That's when you tell somebody if you need to. But these contestants on these pregame episodes have been talking about how the idol isn't necessarily the big, awesome advantage you have. It's finding out when somebody has an idol. It's even a bigger advantage than the idol itself.
I know what I would have done.
Keep on finding it.
First of all, I would have saved the first note. This idol is good for the next tribal council. I would have held the note, put the idol back in, kept going for all of them. And then if anyone saw and knew, I would say, yep, I've got an idol. It's good for the next tribal council. And that's it. And they'd have the note to prove it.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's a really good point because then you'd at least be safe for that. And then if you're, I was thinking the same thing as you, Brandon. Could you kind of keep it and then go back, like have that for 3 and then go back and try to do that? That would probably be the optimal strategy. I like Bree's strategy. But yeah, if somebody knows you have the idol like Rome, then you got to like do the Ferris thing where I'm going to play it. I'm playing it tonight. And you got to have that, like, you're using it. You're scared. You're using it as a fear tactic of like, I'm going to protect myself. So you better not vote for me because it's not going to work. Right. You got to kind of play it like that.
And then they find it in your bag. It's like, oh, well, so it was only good for last tribal and now it's worthless. I'm just keeping it as a souvenir. Oh, by the way, it's still good. Hey, I got to hold this comment. I'm going to take a screenshot. Brennan, love you. Thank you. Yes.
If you're I gotta get these names someday. Rome. When you're Rome, I think he was in a place where he needed to go find every idol he could. When Aisha points you out, everybody else is talking about you. You have to find everything. I don't know if Gabe was necessarily in that place yet to have to really go all the way.
Alex is finding.
Well, he's
saying
the
rules on it or something. Alex, is that?
No, I just put the list of all the names in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Well, he's like, I'm going to be on the Survivor Mount Rushmore. That was his preview. And he's like, I'm just going to do 3. It's like, bro, you're supposed to be Survivor Mount Rushmore. Like, you got to go
all the way. Get it done.
He's like, it was so hard. What was hard about it? Breaking the driftwood apart? Like, what was so hard? I don't know.
I was like, you just getting firewood. Who would, like, it's dry wood. Like, yeah, I'm breaking it up. I'm bringing it back to camp. We got firewood. Starting the day right. I don't know. Didn't think that was that hard. They get deer in the headlights. They're like, no. So
could you keep, if you find all 3 clues, could you keep all 3 pieces of paper and say that pretty much you have 2 or 3 idols?
Why not?
Do that, right?
I would.
Well, the paper was like glued to the box. The ones that were inside. The first one was on the outside, and I think the other ones, the instructions, or was it the map?
I thought there was. I thought when he opened the box,
there
was a lock, there was a scroll, and there was a hole for the idol and the idol on top of it. So the idol was there. You take that out. There's a hole. So if you're going for it, you have to put the idol back in the box before that says, yes, I'm committing to continuing this journey.
Right.
And then you can open, or you have to find the key to. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
what was the ending of Rome? So Rome, he puts his head in the well, which I thought was pretty fun. I wanted him to stay at the well for them to walk up and then be like,
just
why are you all wet?
Really thirsty.
Yeah, I was
no, but he turns around and runs the other way. Eek, they're here. And he runs away and they already saw him. It's like, How much? For it's rookie. It's all rookie stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Love it.
I think we're gonna have some
rookie
good stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say the challenge, right? The boat challenge. What a disaster. It was kind of interesting though. Did they not have to be in the boat the entire time?
Apparently not, because everybody fell out. Oh,
Right,
you mean could they have like brought the boat and the things with them, not necessarily in the boat? Is that what you're talking about? Like
that's what. Yeah, I mean, it seemed like
Jeff said you all have to be in the boat before you can unclip. That was the directions. I went back and watched that. His direction was everyone must be in the boat before you can unclip it and start rowing.
Okay.
That was all I heard. Now, were there more instructions that we didn't quite understand that were more specific? You must all remain in the boat the entire time, or like how that works. But yes, they should have. Because those boats were made to sink like that.
Yeah, they were. They were super shallow. The treasure chests were super heavy. I was just
Super
designed for them
boats.
to capsize and
designed that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they just had to be smarter than the boat.
That was an incredible challenge. Mad props this week for the 2 challenges. There's things in those challenges we'd never seen in 24 seasons before, or 47 seasons before, I don't think. I love the running to get the puzzle pieces. You had 3 opportunities to get 3 different puzzle pieces. I thought challenges, awesome start.
Yeah, that camera angle where they're like going through.
That was
they
cool.
had some like drone or I don't know, some stabilized camera. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's cool.
So who were our standouts in the challenges that we saw last night?
Soul. So Soul is the medical device salesman. I thought he was a surgeon. I guess he's a medical device salesman, but he seems like the only he was like lifting the boxes up himself. He was like actually strong. Seems like a really capable, and he's not on the outside like I thought he would be because he's a little bit older. He seems a little bit older than he is. I mean, he's 42. He's actually not that old.
Or unpicked Solomon.
Yeah.
So
I was impressed with him. He's doing
I will
good.
still pick him up for Gabe. I'm telling you that right now. I think Sue looked mighty with the puzzle piece behind her head, and then she just threw it down like WWE. Like that was she came to play, man.
That's who she reminds me of is WWE. 100,000. I know there's people here from STWF TV. If you don't watch it, you should. But like the WWE, that's right on the money with her. Yes. Because she's fabulous. She's fit and she's just phenomenal when she's out there. Like
she's expressive. She knows how to talk to people really well. The fact that someone said, "Hey, like she has 2 number 1s right now, and she's not the one who said anything about them yet." So it's like big things are in store for Sue, and I'm here for it.
This has happened on the other seasons too, right? The older lady, everybody's mom, right? And they go pretty far. Yeah. So she's mom. And then you have this naive group of insecure millennials, right? They all need their mommy.
I was gonna say, dude, with how young the season is, she's grandma out there. She's gonna go to town, man. I wish that's the pick that you guys. I forget who has Sue on their team.
Alex.
Yeah.
If you want to,
she's a smart lady too. I mean, she's a pilot. She owns her own pilot. So she's got a lot of good things going for her in this season.
I would consider her a badass. That's my. Yep. That's what I would say she is because she's bringing it all full circle. She's bringing everything to the table. She really, really is. It's what we look at. Now, the question will be, how aware is she? How will she be able to see what is all happening around her at all times and use that to her advantage? John, no situation awareness. It screwed him in the end, and now he's gone first boot, right? So I think Sue, she's got the physicality. They're going to keep her on because strong women, that's really important. Usually there's always the weaker of the tribe, unfortunately, but not in her case. She's showing it. Women are here to play. And I really like her. I think she was a smart pick, Alex.
Yeah. I'm liking her more and more. You don't know when people, I usually pick after the first episode. You just don't know with some people, but yeah, she's surprising. She could go all the way. I mean, she could definitely win this. Are you guys into any of like the Easter eggs? I was watching a previous season and I noticed that they showed the winner. They were the first person that they asked the question to. In this season, I think it was TK was the first person that they asked the question. And when he came on the island, he gave that kind of ominous, "Oh, this is going to be easy." He has really high confidence in himself. So I'm thinking, okay, do you guys believe in the Easter eggs or like in the winners, kind of thing at the beginning? Or
If TK is the Easter egg, I believe in it. I believe in it.
If you're right, Alex said yes, we believe it.
Yeah. Well, he's really. What do you guys think of TK? I mean, he seems like a really likable guy. The guys, they said, the guys fell in love with him.
The bromance that's going. That's what they're talking about. That's what Carolyn said. I'm so happy I picked Carolyn. I really like her already. And she's made some really good observations already in things, and she does see the bromance going on with some of these guys. So,
but bromances never ever hold out unless you're Wendell or Dominic. That's the only time in Survivor history that's ever worked. So all it's going to take is one of those females to be like, this is a bromance, and one of you is going to be sent home by the other guy, right? I mean, that happens in Australia Survivor all the time. That happens U.S. Survivor. I agree with you guys. You have to watch out for TK being that post-merge number 1 pick. All right. That's where he needs to try to survive the best. And we'll have to flirt between, do I, try to win all these challenges now, or do I still lay low and try to monitor my threat level? Or does he hide behind someone else who may be just as strong, like a Sam? But if Sam's tribe has dwindled like we think it is, he won't have Sam to hide behind. So it's going to be very interesting. I love this season so far, guys.
They showed Kevin last.
Okay, so Brandon's calling you out on that. She's proving that wrong. But you never know. There are, maybe they won't do the same thing. Maybe there's something that they're showing to kind of give us a clue, and we won't see it until much later, down the road, and be like, oh, when they did that, that's probably what it was. But it's hard to say. I think the producers are they're trying to, if they do anything, it's going to be really subtle, except for, I don't know. I truly think, and this is a little off challenge thing, but I see much more of all of the cinematography, and that we wish we were a little bit more like Australia, because they just go all in with cinematography. Like they really all those big sweeping scenes and things that they do, they really put a lot of effort into it. So I see the US version kind of heading in that direction. They're trying, and I give them credit for that. That's cool.
And we also got some grit from Jeff that we haven't seen for, I guess the rice, the bag cutting of rice is awesome. But again, him kind of telling Andy, Andy, buck up, man. This is Survivor. This isn't for softies. So I appreciated that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's taking that stance of like, no more quitters. He's like, I ain't letting you quit. No more quitters. Yeah, I mean, with TK, really strong guy. They're like, this guy's like literally an NFL player, and he works with NFL players. Wanted to get in the NFL. I think he got injured and wasn't able to, get in. But yeah, I mean, really, really strong guy. And I think if he does go to merge, I mean, he could be a huge threat, right? Going to challenge. But now American Survivor is not super physical all the time. It's a little bit more puzzle and this, we say like dexterity type of things, but really capable person there. So yeah, TK might be, was that your pick, Brandon, TK? Or was that Bree?
TK
was my pick.
That was my pick. Yeah. I like him.
I
do think the 4 to work. So if we talk about, 2 seasons ago when we had the D, Austin, Drew, and Mama J, I think the 4 to watch out for this season, and you guys tell me if you think I'm wrong, but the Genevieve, Teeny, Kashawn, and Aisha. I think that's strong. I think that's a 4 that's strong, and they have Soul, who I think will work well with that. I would watch out for those 5 from here on out, because I think.
Do you think Rome would be their first boot then?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that he's already proven to everybody, all these idle hunts right away, all these things. It's just a little. It's not doing him any good. There's no reason for it. He should, be upfront and honest with people. But he's already, when you run away from the well, when you're soaking wet and you obviously been up to no good, you don't get to wave the wand on the map and have it all disappear. They saw you. So.
Well, and they have a common enemy. Enemy.
Oh. Make it up words.
I don't know what's happening today. In Rome. And it's great on this kind of show if you can have somebody and maybe that's why they kept Andy, because he's a good common enemy to have. So I would watch out for those. What's your take? Do you think that there is a better 4 group out there on the island right now over on the Blue Tribe?
I think you're right about that. I actually really like that, Brandon. I mean, you see that Aisha, right, and Teeny, they're really close. And it looks like Teeny kind of looks to Aisha for that advice. Like, she's like, oh, Aisha, tell me, you know, what to do, because she respects her from the Rob podcast. Aisha's also a little bit older than Teeny. Teeny's pretty young. I mean, she's 23. Aisha's 32. So she's kind of looking to her. I like Genevieve. She didn't really look like she's got this big smile. She seems to be really bubbly, but you didn't really hear anything from her this episode. But it seemed like she has, Aisha and Teeny both said, I really like Genevieve. So she just has this way that she does ingratiate herself. She's lowered her threat level. And I don't know what she's even telling people she is. Like, she's a corporate lawyer, but she's not going to tell you. So what is she going to tell people she is? Like, hairdresser? Like, I was comparing her to the winner last season, right? We can't even remember. We're such good Survivor. So yeah, it was just interesting because you didn't hear anything from her, but everyone's like, "Oh, we really like her," and she's in the the club there. So I agree with you. Yeah, Kenzie.
Brennan's like, Brennan, just come on the show.
The first episode back officially. So
we need somebody that knows the show. We never watched the show. We know nothing about it.
Little encyclopedia person here.
I don't have machetes and coconuts in my backyard, guys. My neighbors aren't questioning anything.
Oh, I love that comment. That was beautiful.
That seemed really gross. The girl was like, "Oh, if you find a coconut that's sprouting, it's really frothy in the middle." And like, I was like, that sounds kind of gross.
Oh, you've never had coconut broth?
You haven't either, Brandon.
I haven't.
Go on. Brandon says, Kenzie's his girl. Yeah, we love Kenzie. Yeah, I think that we're gonna see, I don't know about the blue. I really think red will be strong. I don't know about blue. I think yellow, I want to get into the tribal stuff. Yep. Like, I didn't think that tribal council was anything to brag about or anything major. It was kind of a snooze fest. I did go into it a little unsure who was going to get voted out. Like, I wasn't 100% on that. So they did have me kind of hanging on, who was going to vote for who, but it kind of, as it went on, it kind of became a little more obvious to people, but yeah. And nothing really exciting happened at tribal. So I was a little whatever.
Well, John, speechwriter, no speech, bro. Where's the speech?
I know.
Where's the speech? Yeah. It's frustrating how poor of his performance was for being a good, for podcast. It's different though. We recapping here. He's not a politician. He's a podcaster. Right.
We're amazing. What are you talking about? I thought, he left us with some good things. He didn't.
Yeah.
It's not 40 several. It's not like we're not going to be talking about him 10 episodes deep. I don't think John's going to come back into the show in any way, really, to be honest with you. But I still think he left us with some things. It was an interesting take and how he saw things set up with, we vote and it's an election and you know what I mean? Like, it is the democracy kind of a thing and you're building a society. And I get that because that's what interests me about the show as well, partially. So I think he gave us some good stuff, but was that memorable enough? Will we be sitting here at the start of 48 going, do you remember who was first boot? Will we be saying that in January or February when it comes out, right? So that's the question. Did he leave enough of a mark to be memorable? I don't know.
Well, knowing us, we will definitely forget.
We will forget.
But
write that down, Brennan.
But it was interesting, Jeff's comment at the beginning, and then he reiterated it at Tribal. This season is all about community for Jeff. That was his big word du jour, was community, right? It's Survivor is a community. I mean, in some ways it is. And I'm all about community. I mean, me and Bree, we do a lot about online communities. That's our business. We're entrepreneurs. We build online communities for a living. But it was an interesting kind of take and different, Jeff always kind of he started this in the new season, right? He's framing kind of the entire narrative for the season right there at the beginning, right when they hit the island. And it was all about community. So it's an interesting thing, because Survivor is, like he was saying, there's two games going on. There's the game of Survivor, but on top of that game, there's also the humans that you're dealing with, right? And there's this really weird dynamic where you have to ingratiate yourself to people. You have to be liked by people. You have to vote them off, and then you have to go back to tribe. So it's this social dynamic that is nowhere else anywhere in society, right? Real community is about, it's kind of an inverse community, right? But, it's this weird Lord of the Flies community, I guess, right? So there's these different types of community. But, you just can't help but when you're in that type of situation, you get close to people, you meet people you know them for 2 days. Oh, I love you guys, right? Because you're stripped of your community, you're stripped of all your support. And so like project, right, your whatever type of community you think. And so for Andy, he's projecting onto this new community all of his insecurities and all of how he grew up, and right, all that. So it's just interesting. And they, like I said, reiterated that at Tribal. Do you guys feeling like a community? Is this a community?
Should we do like the Andy Cohen Watch What Happens Live? How many times he says community, we all have to take a shot kind of a thing. I feel like if he keeps that up, we'll be like playing some kind of weird game with Jeff Probst saying the word community. How many times has he said it this week? Who knows the answer?
We should have a tracker on that. Let's do that.
We'll do a tracker. Brennan, you've got a job now. You got to track that. Jeff's truth bombs are on point this season. I have to agree. He's bringing it real. He's trying to keep it really real. I thought it was interesting that he walked them down the beach at the beginning. Well, we got a challenge. Cool. Follow me, and then they all started following along behind him. I was waiting for him to sing some kind of song. I don't know. I thought it was really interesting.
Jumped off a cliff, and they would have jumped off with him. Like, that's the respect that people have for that man.
I know.
I'm here for it.
Yep. Well, it's time. It's time to get into how we're doing on the draft. And in Big Brother fashion, I have put my photos, one of them in black and white, because John was our first boot. He's on my picks. So I black and whited his photo up in the corner there. But I still got Carolyn. I got Kishan. I'm feeling really good about him. I really like him. I like him better than I thought I would like him. He's, I think he brings a lot. I like the fact that chaos does not affect him. Cool and calm in chaos, because as an ER doctor, he's used to life and death situations, craziness, all the stuff all around him. And I think that that'll benefit him here. He'll still be able to think clearly and keep a clear head and an understanding of what's happening around him. So I'm liking him. I really like Carolyn, and I think Aisha's amazing. So Brandon, how are you feeling about your picks?
Oh, but I was going to share my opinion on your picks for a second.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay,
you're allowed.
Good. Well, yeah, I think
jealous.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You're jealous.
You are the only one that had somebody out, so I'm not going to be jealous yet. I did think Kishan had a good 18 seconds. I would have loved. I would have.
You booted him. Get out of here.
No one puts baby in a corner. That was awesome. I think that he does have the cool, calm, and collected, because as I said before, and I should have never said it. He had Banu vibes to me, and I think he's way above Banu when it comes to the emotional level, and he's good. I'm good with him. Gosh, my eyes are terrible. Did you get Aisha? You got Aisha, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, because we didn't know who she was, so I think that's going to be a sleeper pick for you, because I think you picked her 4th.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
You did.
Cool. What's your thoughts on her, Bree, Alex?
Well, Keyshawn, he's a hard guy to read because he's so bubbly. There's a lot of bubbly personalities on this season. He'd be a really hard guy to read. He's only 27. Seems older than that. But yeah, I mean, he'd be a really hard guy to kind of like judge if he's lying to you or not, I feel like, because he's just so positive, and he can kind of keep that frame of being just like overly positive all the time, even in a really stressful situation. Right. So yeah, I think it's a good pick. I wasn't really, super confident because it kind of seemed like a little bit like childish or kid-like, but I think he just is this, just kind of relenting, unrelenting, like positive, upbeat, high energy. Obviously he's got a high motor of like, just go type of stuff. Yep. So
I would give Bree a nice C plus. I mean, she got the one that got eliminated, so you have to get the
Gotta dock me for that a little bit. Yeah.
right. So I think a strong C plus is where we're looking at.
I like Aisha too. I mean, it'd be cool if she won as a podcaster and as somebody who's a super fan and stuff. I mean, it'd be cool to see her get far in the game, and I think she's pretty likable, so I could see it happening.
Yeah. So we'll go on to
right.
me, unless you're going to move me over again.
No, yeah, I'll move you. You want to go back? Okay, I'll move you back over here. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
That hurt. So my 4, I got TK. We've said very positive things about TK. I think that he's calm, cool, collected. I love the fact that in that challenge, he kind of just said, "Okay, let's do this. We gotta fight, baby. We gotta fight." And he made his own path through the woods because he was getting lost. And he's like, "There's the ocean. I just got to get there." I love that about him. I think you can take that in other places of his game. Sierra, she's on the scary tribe, but I think she's the most cool, calm, and collected in that scary tribe right now. She did a great job by kind of pointing in tribal council who she thought the leader was and made it like a friendly thing, but at the same time, watch out for her thing. So that was cool, but they got to stay alive for her to stay alive. And Gabe, much to do about Gabe. We'll figure it out. I hope he plays the idol correctly. And I don't know if it's because I picked him or because I like him a little bit. I think it's because I picked him. He's got to play the idol correctly. He's got to utilize that correctly. And then Teeny, man, top 4. I think that group of 4 is going to go a long way, and Teeny's going to be along for the ride. And I think she's going to be the reason Asia does go home sometime in this game, but much later in the season. So I'm going to give myself a B plus today.
Yeah, I like your picks, honestly. I mean, I don't know if Sierra, I don't know if we've seen, she doesn't, I don't know. I don't think she's going to, but I like TK. I think Gabe, if they would have went to tribal, probably would have been the first to vote it off unless he did play as idol. And then I think Teeny's she seems to have fit into the tribe very well, and people really seem to like her. But will you see, she's too likable. I don't think she's too likable. I don't think she's like too kind of out there. Her joke at the beginning where she's like, "I'm a scarecrow," kind of bad delivery, but we saw where she's going with it.
Well, and that's okay to be a little awkward at times because you can't be like, super articulate in everything you say. So I hope the scarecrow does, the line does. And then she started talking about the weird comment about her hats, like how she wore her buff was
it's kind of funny.
I like that about her.
Yeah, I like
she's it's kind of self-deprecating. Very likable.
100%.
All right, I'm switching because, guys, I don't agree to, locking in. I'm switching Soul or Solomon for Andy. Okay, Andy's out.
No, you don't get to make up the rules.
No, I mean,
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah.
You don't get to change. No.
What's the logic here? How can you pick people before they even? He said he's like Austin, so I take his word for it. But we actually see him on the show.
Alex, I agreed with you until Bree told me no last week, so I no longer agree with you because I was trying to get Soul last week or Sam or somebody.
No, audience, put it in the chat.
Okay, there we go.
Do you accept? Do you pick your winner before the season even starts? Before you even watch a single episode and know anything about these people?
Brennan.
Yeah, I don't, Brandon. I don't. Yeah, I mean, let's get a second opinion here. Yeah,
She's
a
like,
little skewed.
Texting people, go on and please.
Johanna. I like my other picks though. Other picks are good. Genevieve, like I said, haven't heard a single word from her. Perfect, love it. Okay. The other girl, the Hawaiian, like her again. Didn't hear a single word from her. That's okay. This is why I'm saying, guys, you can't pick because you don't even know. Okay. And Sue, is a good pick, and she could potentially go far. I do think that if Blue lost, she would have sided with the girls. I mean, Sue seems like a smart lady. She's going to side with the 2 other women, and then the guys, and then Caroline is going to say, okay, this is a bromance. We got to get one of the guys out, right? And who would that be? Would it be TK? Probably not. Would it be Kyle? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, you didn't really hear anything from Kyle either.
Not a lot. No.
Not a lot. Didn't even hear about Moose. So, but I like my picks in general. And then we got Todd Herzog. He chose 2.
He did.
Yeah,
He
that's
did.
great.
I
Yeah.
like you. You guys. I think we all have really good picks. I think for Brandon, I'm not in agreement on Sierra. She is. I don't know what it is. It's like running me a little bit different. Not crazy about her, but I think Teeny is your standout. I think Teeny is the one that I'm worried about. As far as who you have that has a potential to win this just off of week 1. And Alex, for your picks, I think you might actually have the strongest team with Genevieve and Sue. Sue's really surprised me. So don't worry about losing Andy. Yellow's going to go. I think we just all are going to just see. I have 1 yellow, Brandon. You have
Oh, well, that's cool.
1.
Yeah.
Todd, sorry, hon, you got 2. Rachel, though, is the strongest of the picks. I think Rachel of the yellow. I think Rachel's the best one to have. I got to get their names right for what their tribe names are, but it's Gata, I think, is what yellow is.
Lavo.
Gotta get better, Andy. That's what it stands for. Gotta get better. But I think I think Rachel would be Todd's best contender on who he picked. I think Rome will be first boot for red if when they go to tribal. If they go to tribal, and yellow doesn't dominate tribal council for the first 4 episodes. But yeah, I think you guys have actually pretty strong. You got some winner's choices. I don't know if I have a winner's choice in there. I think Carolyn could be a real contender, and Aisha. I think just with her knowledge of everything and her connection to Teeny, because I think that Aisha would turn her back and stab you. I think she'd throw you under the bus, and what she needs to do at the end to win that money. I think she would do it. I don't think she'd hold back once.
And Bree, I think you have a mild-mannered group to where they're not going to get voted off for stupid reasons.
I hope.
I think Kashan could even go maybe even to the end of this group too. And that's another vote, Alex, right there that someone voted. Just let you know. But
what is the logic? What is the logic?
But then let me talk about your team, Alex. I agree with Bree. I think you have a great group right there, minus Andy. But I think Tiana's strong. Genevieve, I think, can easily make connections. Everybody likes her without her really doing a whole lot. And Sue's just a powerhouse. So let's go with solid B+.
He got a better team than me, Alex. You don't hear me whining.
Todd did say that he was a notoriously bad picker.
Mm-hmm.
So we should have known that all those people would have not been so good.
Yeah, so we, pretty much, except for Rachel. Like I said, I like Rachel. Otherwise, I'm not too crazy about him. But that's okay.
Yeah, with Todd's team, let's see, Rome. Oh gosh, I think that Annika, wasn't she the one where she was talking she was seen as the leader. And then also Andy started hearing her talk about how she tried to get the general consensus of the group and made decisions that way. So I think that she's going to say some lines kind of like, who was it, RC or whoever did that one season where she would be a little bit too articulate and too wordy at tribal council. I think she's going to be in trouble sometime soon. And Rachel and Kyle, I think, are strong picks. But I tell you what, I rewatched our episode with Todd. Guys, we were starstruck. We were very confident who we picked, and then Todd would say something that would be like criticism of our pick, and we'd be like, "Oh yeah." We let Todd mop.
We're trying to get more of the players on, Brandon. So we're trying to be very good hosts. And
Yes, we were. Yes, we were.
I did reach out to Kelly Wentworth, so I'm hoping to hear back from her. Love to have her on. We have to wrap it up. Before we go anywhere, I want to talk about Brennan's picks. Brennan, we're going to put your picks up next week. So I'm going to save this comment. I'll put you up on the board with us. You get to choose whoever you want. He's got Kyle, Sue, TK, and Carolyn.
Okay, no, we can't. No. He's choosing after the first episode. We can't allow this. Hey, buddy, you made your bed. You got to lay in it. So sorry.
So we got a fight going on.
No. Right, Brennan, I would have stuck up for you, but you know what? Sorry.
Brennan gets Sam and Saul. That's who he gets.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, you get Sam and Saul. Those are your only 2 choices.
I'll still make him a board and put his stuff up there. We love Brendan. He's a great friend of the show. We appreciate all the support and help that you give us to keep us on point, because we don't remember anything. We become typical rookie Islanders when we come on the show and can't remember anything. A lot of fun. God, what do you think? We're going to be in for a ride this season, aren't we?
We are.
Hopefully it's a good season.
Yep.
We are. I think we're going to cheer for anybody who's opening up coconuts. We're going to make sure we cheer for them.
100%.
I did it on a cruise. They didn't celebrate when I opened it. Like, bro.
They didn't cheer for me. Cheer for me. And we did get some news that the Australia versus the world will be coming out, and there are 3 players that are already picked from the U.S. We've got Parvati, we've got Tony, and we've got Sari. What do we think, really quick, before we wrap this up?
Poverty's kind of played out. I mean, just how many? I don't know. Tony, not strong picks. I don't like those picks actually from America. Can we get like Jonathan? Big Jonathan to compete with the Australians, like those big Australian guys. That would be awesome. Tony, this dude's like old now. You know what I mean?
Oh my
gosh. And then Sari, again, she's like on everything. Like I'm not the biggest Sari person. Like she's just on too many things now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not my favorite picks there.
Wouldn't been my
What up against King George? I mean,
yeah, you really want someone masterful. I would have liked to seen Kelly Wentworth on there. I really think that she would be. It's only a 14-day show, by the way, just so you're aware of all the little details. It's only going to be 14 days. I don't know. It's going to be a modified version of the game. They're going to be bringing a lot of people in, or there won't be as many people as a full cast, obviously, with only 14 days. So it'll be a little different. We'd love to hear, who would you have put in there for the U.S.? My pick would have been Kelly Wentworth. I think 14 days would have been a breeze for her. She's got the strategy. She's got the chutzpah to get through all of it. She can handle it. She'd take on King George in a heartbeat, and she would have him for breakfast. So, yep.
And right now, I'll choose my other 2 next time, but I would say Joe. I think Joe is the type of player who would do way better in Australia than he would in American Survivor. So I'm going to say Joe.
There you go. That's good picks. I think we got good ones. Thanks, everybody, for watching and hanging out for us today. Welcome back to the crew. We will see you here every week at this time, and maybe some extra episodes as we chat with players, former players, and maybe even current ones. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Go Gabe. Go Gabe.